Nasty Jar and Jayman11. The Lost Sunevian. Chapter 1. The Creation of the Universe. When the universe was first coming into being, the all-powerful RSX, later known as God, created the universe we all know today. However, for a short period of time, there was a planet known as Sunev. Sunev was a horrible planet, filled with pain, suffering, and zebras. Once RSX realized the error of his ways, he quickly erased the planet, and continued making the universe we all know. However, a malignant demon by the name of Clueless 679, later known as Satan, found great pleasure in the constant suffering created by this planet. He created an alternate universe, similar to our own, except the planet was still there. This is the universe that this story takes place in. Our story begins with a young Sunevian named Glenn. Chapter 2, Life on Sunev. Sunev had 7 inhabitants. Glenn, his parents, a professional archer named Brady, an Afro enthusiast named Dragul, an incredibly skilled and wise wizard named Ricky aka the Big Rick, and a sentient gong named Megan. She was a masterful musician, and brought the other inhabitants with relative joy every time she played her famous song Mercados Libres Campesinos. The reason there are only 7 inhabitants on an entire planet is because the rest of the planet besides the area where they live, is absolutely flooded with zebras. Whenever anybody tries to move into that area, they are promptly attacked viciously by the zebras. Despite the horrible living conditions of their home planet, the few inhabitants got along well. On another horrible day on Sunev, Glenn woke up early to find Ricky aka the Big Rick practicing his crazy magic. Every time he used his outrageous magic, it was sure to wake Glenn up. Not because the spells were loud, but because every time Ricky aka the Big Rick used one, he would scream at the top of his lungs. Ricky aka the Big Rick needed one item to perform his bonkers magic. His bush. He had obtained this bush during a trip to Earth. Glenn had only heard about Earth from the stories that Ricky aka the Big Rick told him. According to Ricky aka the Big Rick, Earth was incredibly large, and packed with terrifying demons called humans. After this, Glenn had several nightmares about waking up on Earth, surrounded by humans. Glenn was already awake and couldn't fall back asleep. He was beginning to get irritated at Ricky aka the Big Rick. Every day he would always practice his off-the-wall magic way too early in the morning. He went outside to give Ricky aka the Big Rick a piece of his mind.
Big Rick, you are being so loud. I am trying to sleep.
Glenn yelled.
Glenn, I am practicing an incredibly important new spell. I am almost there. I have almost created a portal to Earth. You must not interrupt me,
explained Ricky aka the Big Rick. Big Rick, I can't believe you're still at this, said Dragul, who had just woken up. You've been trying to go to Earth for so long. I doubt it's even that cool. Then, out of the corner of his eye, Glenn saw a zebra approaching. It was mad.
Zebra. Run, guys,
yelled Glenn. Everybody ran back into their tents, but Glenn was too far away. He tried to run back, but he had tripped. All of a sudden, he felt his feet being stopped by something, and then he blacked out. Chapter 3, World of the Humans. When Glenn woke up, he saw himself in a field of some bizarre green strand. What was weird is that the area he was in was way bigger than the entirety of Sunev. This place was completely alien to him. The sky was a color he never even knew existed. He saw something next to him. It was his bag of important items that he carried around in case he found himself lost. As he regained his senses, he began to understand what had happened. He had tripped over Ricky aka the Big Rick's bush, which is what he had transformed into a portal to Earth. Glenn began to panic. He was on Earth with no way of getting back. He was completely alone. No Brady, no Dragul, no Ricky aka the Big Rick, no Megan, and no zebras. The only things he had were what was contained in his backpack. He had received important items from each Sunevian. Brady had given him a bow. Glenn had learned to love the bow, and always used it to defend himself from rogue zebras. Dragul gave him a miniature afro. Regal had convinced Glenn that afros were an incredible hairstyle. Ricky aka the Big Rick gave him a bush. Immediately, he tried to run into it again, thinking it would act as a portal, but nothing happened. Megan gave him a copy of the Ableton Live free trial. This was given to her from Ricky aka the Big Rick from Earth, and neither of them knew what it did. His parents gave him a green drink. This green drink was Glenn's favorite drink in the world, and it gave him and the rest of the Sunevians their energy. There was also a nose. He didn't know why this was there, or what it could be used for. He began to rummage through the items in his backpack, and inside the bush was a piece of paper. The paper read instructions for Sunevian stuck on Earth and was written by Ricky aka the Big Rick. Step 1 was wear the afro given by Regal to disguise yourself as a human. Step 2 was consume the green drink produced by Glenn's parents to retain your human form and create allies in your quest. Step 3 was create a lasting impact on planet Earth. After this has been done, your bush will become a portal back to Sunev. After reading this, Glenn quickly put on Regal's afro. He began to feel his body changing, and his brain tingling. He begins to learn how to speak the language of the humans, or rather humans. After a few seconds, he looked completely different. He looked similar to the sketches of humans that Ricky aka the Big Rick kept in his notebook. Chapter 4, Technology. Glenn had no idea how humans behaved. He needed to leave the grassy field, but encountered some of them and ran away. He continued walking out of the field until he came across a shack without any other humans. The shack was small, but it was bigger than his tent on Sunev. He decided this would be a good temporary shelter during his time on Earth. Immediately after that, Glenn got to work. He experimented with the items in his bag. He had kept his afro on at all times, as it made him blend in perfectly with the rest of the humans. As time went on, he began to learn the behavior and language of the humans as well due to the afro. He had not found any uses for his bow yet, but he figured it would be good to keep around in case he needed to defend himself. Glenn decided to explore. He was being very careful, and avoided any interactions with humans. He came across a store called Best Buy. He walked into the store and was amazed by what he saw. There were so many devices and items he had never seen before. He wanted one. He grabbed one of the largest computers and quickly left before he could be spotted. Then, trouble emerged.
Sir? Did you pay for that?
Said a man wearing a Best Buy shirt. Glenn panicked.
No. Oh. Sorry, I forgot.
Said Glenn. Glenn was then instructed to put the computer back. He needed to find another way. He inspected the Best Buy from all angles, and found a box in the back. The box read dumpster. Inside the box was just what he wanted. A computer. He also found a small metal slab labeled iPhone 4. He had no clue what this did either, but it looked cool and he wanted it. Glenn rushed back to his shack to investigate his new items. Chapter 5, 30 Days Remaining. Glenn returns to his shack and turns the strange items on. He decides to use his iPhone 4 to learn ways humans can become famous. He sees an app called Spotify. He opens it to find an enormous library of sounds. He listens to them to figure out their purpose when he has a realization. This is music, just like the music Megan always played back on Sunev. Glenn then has an epiphany. He can make his own music to leave a lasting impact on Earth. He starts researching how to make music. He then finds a program for the computer called Ableton Live. He then looks in his backpack and finds the gift he got from Megan said Ableton Live free trial. Glenn jumps to his feet in excitement. He has what the humans use to make music. He takes the CD out of the package, and puts it into the computer, where he assumes it goes. The computer begins to install Ableton Live, and then after completing the installation, a window pops up. Thank you for getting the Ableton Live free trial. You have 30 days until your trial expires. After that, you can go to ableton.com to buy the full version for $99.99. Glenn freaks out.
30 days? How am I going to achieve a lasting impact on Earth in 30 days?
Chapter 6, The Boys. Glenn realizes he can't do this alone. He remembers the instructions told him to create allies. He knows that Tricky aka the Big Rick was able to create clones on Sunev, so that must be what the instructions want. He drinks a little bit of the green drink, and then concentrates. I need someone who has a lot of musical talent. A green body begins to emerge in front of Glenn. He then stops focusing to see the clone form. But then, the clone begins to deform. Glenn panics, and then starts concentrating again, but to no avail. 2 clones emerge, each with half the talent of a normal person. Glenn looks in shock.
Oh my RSX, what have I created?
Hello, my name is Darren.
Said one of them.
I can play half the notes on the clarinet.
Hello, I'm Joran.
Said the other.
I can play the other half of the notes on the clarinet. Oh no, is there anything else you can do?
Glenn asks, despairingly.
No.
They both say.
I can count to 4.
Jaran said. Glenn sighs in disappointment. He tries again, focusing harder this time. I need someone who can make music fast. He concentrates on the cloning process, and when he finishes, he opens his eyes to see a very energized man, rapping at an alarming rate. Yo yo yo, the name's Doug, I be fast and I hate bugs. Doug quickly exclaimed.
I guess you will help,
Glenn says. In his excitement, Doug bursts out of the shack, running real fast, like really fast. Like really fast. So fast he runs down the hill in seconds. But then he runs back, and quickly says I saw people. I think they're looking for us. Glenn panics. If the humans find out that he's an alien, they do terrible things to him. Glenn tries to get on Doug's back, but he is too heavy with all his essential items. He then takes another sip from the green drink, and makes another clone, focusing really hard. I need someone who can get us and all of our belongings out of here. He opens his eyes to see a new clone, and a U-Haul truck.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey. Get your stuff in the back and let's get to move on.
Chapter 7, The Great Escape. Glenn and his new allies begin loading all essential items into the back of the truck, with great help from Doug. They even bring the computer. By the time they have finished loading the truck, the door slams down, and 2 people enter, holding some strange blasters. They were wearing shirts that said the Mike and Geraldo Foundation.
We have detected many alien energies coming from this area, meaning you're not from here. We would like to take you in to find out what you are and how to harness your powers,
said one of them.
We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Surrender now or we will capture you ourselves,
said the other. Glenn panicked. He quickly took out his bow, and fired it right at the humans. It misses.
All right then,
one of them says while loading their blaster. Glenn runs into the truck, while his clones run into the back. Jeffrey starts the truck and drives through the wall. They drive away from Mike and Geraldo, but they also have a car, and it's much faster.
Can you go any faster?
Glenn asks Jeffrey.
No,
Jeffrey responds. Glenn is taken off guard by how he said it. Glenn has an idea. He takes a big sip of the green drink, and puts his hands on the dashboard. He concentrates, and then the U-Haul truck begins to levitate.
How are you doing that?
Jeffrey asks.
I don't know,
Glenn says. It increases in elevation, until the truck is flying high in the sky.
We need to get somewhere where no one can find us,
Glenn says.
I know a place,
Jeffrey says. Chapter 8, A Trip to Hurt Island. Jeffrey directs Glenn across the ocean. Glenn uses a lot of his green fuel in the process. Finally, they arrive at a small island in the middle of the ocean.
Welcome to the horrible Hurt Island,
Jeffrey says.
What's so bad about this island?
Glenn asks, perplexed.
It's been destroyed by ancient warriors, known as Nasty Jar, in the battle against Clueless 679, later known as Satan. What remains is these ruins. Some say the island is cursed, but whatever,
Jeffrey explains. Glenn is surprised by Jeffrey's immense knowledge on this island.
How do you know all of this? Can you explain? No.
Jeffrey says again. They land on the island. Jeffrey was right, the place was in ruins. They set up in one of the ruined buildings. Glenn then informs the boys of his plan to make music, so he can return home. They discussed what the music would sound like, considering many classic Sunevian genre. They then realized they needed a band name.
What is our band name going to be?
Said Glenn. How about the Flow Funeral? Doug suggested.
No, I was thinking the extinct houseplant.
Jaren responded.
We should be the Flavor Hooves,
Said Darren.
All those ideas are awful.
Glenn said.
Why did I create you guys?
Glenn and the boys decided to watch some YouTube videos while they waited for ideas to come. It was late, so they fell asleep watching Mini Walls episode 1. The gay in the video sounded oddly familiar to Glenn, but he just ignored it. However, they left auto play on, so when they woke up, they were watching Sunev and the Apple Busters, Angel Demon, Live at Compto or Day Pirates. This gave Glenn an idea.
Our band should have something to do with Sunev.
He said.
Like what?
Jeffrey said.
How about we just steal their band name?
Jaren suggested.
You know what? Sure.
Glenn said.
We are now Sunev and the Apple Busters.
Chapter 9, Traveling Around the World. Glenn and the boys decided they needed more clones, but after they flew to Hurt Island, they did not have enough to create a fully functioning clone. Glenn opened Google Maps, and started searching. He dropped his phone, and when he picked it up, it selected Park River, North Dakota.
There's definitely some green drink at this place. The phone must have known exactly what I was looking for.
Glenn said.
but how are we going to get there? We don't have enough fuel to fly there in my U-Haul truck,
Said Darren.
No, Darren, it's my U-Haul truck.
Jeffrey yelled.
I have an idea.
Glenn said. He takes a very small sip of his green drink, and his afro begins to expand. His hair becomes a parachute, or a parachute.
The wind can bring us there.
He says. The whole gang grabs onto his leg, in a chain, and they take off. Propelled by the wind, they're there in 20 minutes. It was a really windy day. They get caught in a tree in someone's backyard when they reach Park River, North Dakota. Because Jaren was at the bottom of the Sunevian chain, he almost hits the ground and dies. Fortunately, he was mere inches above the ground. The boys climb down from the tree, and see someone coming outside.
Hey, what are you doing here?
The man said.
Sorry, we flew here using my hair to get some green drink so I can clone myself more.
Glenn replied.
Oh, sorry. I'm Dan Stanvold, the mayor of Park River, North Dakota. Our town was the home of Roger Lynn, the fourth governor of North Dakota. Born in 1848, he didn't really do anything significant, but he's still really cool.
That sounds cool, but where can we get that green drink?
Glenn asks.
We had a bunch, but then the Tok'la army took our supply of it. You will have to go to Fakaofo and defeat Off the Galava in order to take back our supply. However, it doesn't look like your Harakute is strong enough to get you all the way there. I know a friend in Saskatchewan who can upgrade it. I need to get mine repaired too, so I'll lead the way. Then you can help me take back our green drink supply.
Dan Stanvold says.
Thank you so much.
Glenn said. They took off, heading north into Canada, and then Saskatchewan. Glenn and the boys follow Dan Stanvold. They land on a farm, where Dan Stanvold introduces the boys to the farmers.
Is Jayman11 here today?
He asks the farmer named Knowledge 2000 Legend.
Yeah, he's on the roof as usual. He recently got a roof for his roof.
Knowledge 2000 Legend replied. Dan Stanvold directs the boys up to the roof of the barn, where they see a man. After introducing the boys to Jayman11, he gladly repairs both of their parachutes, and upgrades Glenn's. They then take off, heading for Tokelau. Chapter 10, Defeating Off the Galava. The boys and Dan land in Fakaofo, Tokelau. They immediately begin their search for Off the Galava, but he is nowhere to be found. Glenn decides to ask one of the locals. Fortunately, being a former British colony and now a territory of New Zealand, they speak English as one of their languages. The local directs them to the house across the street that has a sign that reads Home of Off the Galava. They head inside, but Doug, going in too fast, steps on a pressure plate. The floor beneath them collapses and they're trapped. A man appears at the top.
I knew you would return to try and get your precious green liquid back, Dan,
said the man, revealed to be Off the Galava.
You took what is rightfully ours from us.
Dan said in anger.
I see you brought some friends along for the ride. Too bad they'll have to die with you now.
Off the Galava says. He laughs maniacally. Glenn panics. He doesn't want to die on Earth. He thinks quickly.
I'm going to press this wooden button over here. That will make the walls squish you until you are no more. Fortunately, none of you have a projectile that you can use to shoot the wooden button, breaking the machine permanently.
Off the Galava says. He presses the button.
Because there's absolutely no way this trap could ever fail. I'm going to get some coffee and come back in a few minutes. See ya.
He leaves. Glenn realizes that he actually does have a projectile that he could use to shoot the wooden button, breaking the machine permanently. He takes out his bow and fires at the button. He misses. Now he has one arrow left. He steadies, aims, and fires. It hits the wooden button, breaking the machine permanently. The walls stop closing in, but they're close enough to where they can just climb out. They search Off the Galava's house, until they find him making coffee.
What? How did you survive? There's no way any of you had a projectile that you could use to shoot the wooden button, breaking the machine permanently.
Off the Galava says in shock.
That's where you're wrong, Ofga.
Glenn says, holding up his bow.
Fine, you can have the green drink, just please don't kill me. The trap was all I had. I didn't think any of you had a projectile that you could use to shoot the wooden button, breaking the machine permanently.
Off the Galava pleads. He shows them where the green drinks are being held. Dan and the boys open their parachutes again and head home. However, on the way home, they see a helicopter that says the Lincoln Geraldo Foundation on the side. Chapter 11, Stranded. The helicopter opens fire on Glenn's parachute. They manage to get away, but the parachute is damaged. They have to make an emergency landing immediately. Fortunately, they were right over an island. They land, and ask a local where they are.
You are in Banana, Kiribati,
said the local.
There's no way I can get all these drinks back without your help,
Dan Stanvold says.
What are we going to do? I need to make a lasting impact on Earth by making music to return to my planet of Sunev. Once we make that music, maybe you can buy a boat with the money we make. But I don't have my computer, so I can't make any music.
Glenn said. The local had an idea.
Wait, I'm a DJ, I can help. I need one more song for my concert next week, but my Ableton Live free trial ran out.
Our Ableton Live free trial still has time left. We can use my account,
Glenn says. The local, whose name is DJ Emily, brings the boys and Dan to his house. Before they can make the song though, they need one more clone. Glenn concentrates. I need someone who will help us make a well-known song. The clone emerges.
Hello, my name is Bart. I will help you become well known.
They get started on making the song. Chapter 12, Spacebar. They get started on making their song. They work day and night, making the beat, the vocals, everything. They start thinking of a name.
How about Delivery Impulse?
Said Jaren. No, I was thinking Harm Vegetable, said Doug.
Obviously the best name would be Snail Herd,
Dan suggested.
Clearly we should call it Planetarian,
said DJ Emily.
I still think we should have been the Flavor Hooves.
Darren says in disappointment.
I know. We should call it Spacebar, and make it about how things will be better in the future or something that sounds deep or something.
Glenn says. The group agrees. They made the song about something that they thought was really deep, but it wasn't. They make the best beat ever known, and outstanding vocals. It was as if Ricky aka the Big Rick's absolutely absurd magic was a song. Finally, the song was done, and it was time for the concert. DJ Emily plays his songs he made beforehand, and then introduces his new band, the Sunev and the Apple Busters. When Glenn got on stage, he saw that only 17 people were attending the concert. DJ Emily assured him,
This was our biggest turnout yet. This is crazy.
They get ready, and start playing the song. They start playing, but to the shock of everybody, it sounds nothing like what they made the past few days. It was the single worst beat ever. It was so terrible. All 16 people in the audience started laughing. One of the audience members took out their phone, and started recording. "This is going on our Cringetopia," they said.
I think it should go on our World Politics,
Said another.
This would fit in perfectly on our monster kit.
Said a third one. They agreed.
I can't believe you. You've tarnished my reputation.
DJ Emily said to the boys.
Get off the island. I don't want to see you in Kiribati ever again.
The concert was a disaster, but who was responsible? Chapter 13, The Traitor. DJ Emily sent them home on a boat. The boys made their way all the way back to North Dakota, where they and Dan Stenvold part ways. The boys then continued back to Hurt Island.
What happened that night?
Asked Glenn.
Did one of you change the song?
No, why would we do that?
Said Bart.
How am I going to get home now?
Said Glenn, losing hope. Glenn turned on his iPhone 4 in disappointment and hopelessness. He tries to take his mind off of what just happened by browsing Reddit. To his complete surprise, his song was #1 on our All. Glenn was saddened, but then he looked at his bag, and the bush was beginning to glow. Glenn's eyes lit up in realization. He had made a lasting impact on Earth, but not in the intended way. He had become a huge joke around the world, and everyone was making fun of him. He could finally return home. But then he heard a sound. He looked up, and saw the helicopter from before approaching. Bart turns to the boys.
I was the one who sabotaged the concert. My goal was to stop you, so Mike and Geraldo could catch you. However, when I realized that your song being made fun of fulfilled the lasting impact requirement, I let Mike and Geraldo know of your location. You will not get away from us.
What? How did you do this? Doug quickly and in shock.
Why would you do this to us?
Glenn said in anger.
Can't you see, Glenn? I'm the part of you who likes it better on Earth. I'm the part of you that doesn't want to go back to the horrible, purple, zebra-infested land of suffering. You like it here on Earth. You want to stay.
Bart says.
I can't leave my family and friends behind though. I have to go back, so that I can reunite with them. Maybe with my newfound knowledge of Earth, I can help Ricky aka the Big Rick finish his portal to get us all to Earth. But first, I have to go back to Sunev.
Glenn explained.
It's too late now,
Said Bart, as the helicopter approached. The helicopter was getting very close now. Fortunately, Glenn got more arrows from Dan before leaving, but what were those arrows going to do against the helicopter?
This is the end of the line for you,
Mike said. Glenn looks in his backpack. What could he ever use against them? He looked through and at the very bottom, saw a nose. He noticed that something was off about the nose. He realized it was an explosive nose. Glenn attached the nose to an arrow. He had one shot. Glenn primed the explosive nose, and threw at the helicopter. The arrow went right through the glass, and landed perfectly in the middle of the helicopter. It exploded, killing Mike and Geraldo. Chapter 14, Leaving Earth.
They're dead. We can go to Sunev now.
Glenn said. But what about us? There's no room on Sunev for us. Doug said.
I tried to stop you. You can't leave Earth and you know it.
Bart said, angrily. Glenn paused. He had an idea.
I think I have a plan. Sunev is a horrible place, and all 6 of the other inhabitants, other than the zebras, hate it there. I think I have a solution. Using the bush, and my big supply of green drink, I'll keep the portal open for a few minutes. This should be enough time to get everyone from Sunef to Earth. Ragul can make us all Aphros, so we can all be disguised as humans. We can get more of the green drink from Dan, and other places if need be, to keep ourselves hidden. We can turn Hurt Island into our new home.
He did just that. He was able to bring everyone home. Glenn's parents, Brady, Ragul, Ricky aka the Big Rick, and Megan all got through safely. They made Hurt Island their home, and they lived happily ever after. Chapter 15, Epilogue. Glenn, living in harmony with his family and friends on Hurt Island. Brady, pursued a professional archery career on Earth. Turns out he's not actually that good at it. Ragul, started selling high-quality wigs to humans, making the Sunevians lots of money. Ricky aka the Big Rick, his unbelievable magic has been enhanced by his new knowledge of Earth. Now his unhinged magic is more bananas than ever before. Megan, tried making music on SoundCloud. Turns out gongstep isn't that popular of a genre. Darren and Jaren, someone these fools have gotten even stupider, as if their brains are slowly devolving further. Darren has forgotten how to play a few notes on his half of the clarinet. Doug, pursued professional Olympic sprinting. He's been suspended from his league for suspicion that he's on performance-enhancing drugs. Jeffrey, still driving his U-Haul truck, and still saying no. Bart, Glenn has accepted that Bart is a part of him, and his apology for almost killing them. They get along very well now. Mike and Geraldo, dead. Dan Stanvold, has returned the green drink to his community, will almost definitely win re-election. Knowledge 2000 legend and Jayman11, running a very successful parachute repair business, and even more successful farm. Jayman11 has pursued Filipino geography in college. Off the Galava, disgrace to his community and exiled to Nauru. DJ Emily, has been forgiven by the people of Banana, Kiribati, and is continuing his DJ career. He hopes to DJ in the United States soon, hopefully in the Boston area. RSX, took a break from being God to make some sick beats. Clueless 679, used to love watching the people on Sunev suffer. Without this, he has lost his meaning in life. The end.